The Joe Rogan Experience.
Last time I saw you, I don't think the Pentagon had come out, because it was actually during the pandemic where the Pentagon came out. I don't think we talked about this last time, did we?
I don't think so.
Where they said they've recovered alien crafts. They said we have recovered crafts that are not from this world.
Exactly what they said.
Up, young
pull that up. That exact quote from.
It's a sketchy.
The Pentagon.
It's
Pentagon
actually
didn't say it. Yeah.
the guy from Vegas, the guy from Nevada. What is his name? Is he a senator from Nevada?
Harry
Reid.
Harry Reid.
Someone that
former senator.
Pentagon former contractor was the one that said it.
Oh, you're thinking of you're thinking of he's got an aerospace business out there that was funded in part by taxpayer money. That it was a sort of a project of Harry Reid's in a sense. I'm struggling to remember the guy's name. I should remember it because we've talked about it.
Lear?
No. Aerospace buddy of Harry Reid's. Can we Google that?
Is that the Skinwalker Ranch guy?
No. This is this guy is. They've actually still got a business. He's still developing right now. I think what he's trying to do is develop portable living.
Yeah, that is a Skinwalker Ranch guy.
That is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That is the guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The name's on the tip of my tongue.
I know. But if he's the one who said it, then it doesn't come from the government. They the ATIP, which is that Advanced Aeronautical Threat Identification Program.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the most interesting thing that the government has come out and said is that yes, we did have an operation within the Pentagon, an office within the Pentagon. That was there to identify unidentified threats.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we get something up in the air and we can't identify it. It's like the Tic Tac sightings by David Fravor. Yeah. And those guys. So
David Fravor, for anybody who's in this, please listen to him on the Lex Friedman podcast, because I had him on, but I had him on with Jeremy Corbell, who's the documentarian behind that Bob Lazar movie, and by himself, Fravor and Lex, they get deep into the technical specifications of their aircraft and why he believes that no known aircraft could have ever operated the way it is, and also how it was blocking their tracking devices, which is technically it's an act of war, but also it showed that it was aware of them.
Yeah, he's very credible. I mean, he's extremely credible. He's a good guy. I've talked to him a handful of times. I've sat and reviewed the gun camera footage with him as he's walked through it. Very credible, right? So that was a perfect example of why they had set up ATIP, right, within the Pentagon. Apparently not funded anymore as an operating office.
Because they probably got some new shit to tell you about, because
exactly.
that one got out there.
Got to close it down.
That's in the New York Times
that's
already.
What you do.
That is what they do, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, or you reallocate the. It's all in the budgets, which is again kind of why we do this show for Science Channel called Black Files, because we're chasing the budgets.
Finally,
right?
Jesus Christ!
I know.
I
got like 2 other promo I haven't even touched yet. So I can help. People are thinking, wow, he's really slow this time. But yeah, if you follow the money, it's like an investigation, right? If not so much follow the money, but if you start pulling on those threads around budgets, or it's like with investigation and asset tracing, getting bank records is absolutely key if you can, legally get them during the course of an investigation. But with military operations, oftentimes those budgets for the most interesting projects and operational elements get buried into something else. Mm-hmm. Right? That's just the way it works, right? And so that's where you
maintain
secrecy. But that's it's so it's an exercise, and we don't obviously with Black Files we don't identify anything that's currently classified because we'd all end up in the who's gal. But we're looking at some pretty interesting things, and it speaks to where programs are going currently, right? You look at some things in the recent past, and you say, okay, this is where this new development is heading.
And it's an interesting conversation too, because for people that don't like secrecy and they don't think we should have secrecy, for national security and for the development of things, like the stealth bomb or like a lot of other things that show that we have military superiority mm-hmm. over our enemies, it's important to have secrecy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can't function as a secure and safe and lasting republic without it, right? There's just no way. Now, people will say, "Oh, we should have transparency around everything." No, you got to draw the line. You got to you want to not overdo it, right? So you want to.
That's where I was going to get to.
Right, but
the overdo it part.
But you've got to have the ability to protect sources and methods. You've got to have a sort of a need to know policy around certain things, right, within national security concerns and the intelligence community. But yeah, again, it can be used as a weapon. You can overdo it.
But if you don't have security, you don't have the Manhattan Project.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean,
you don't have many things. That
you think about
keep us safe.
You think about China. Look at this. Now I'm deep into the show, and I'm just now bashing China for their theft of economic intelligence. But you look at the effort that they make in terms of stealing our intellectual property and research and development. Right. I mean, the idea that you don't protect your most critical information, whether it's operationally important or whether it's just, again, R&D for development of materials, and that speaks to the strength of your economy, and so yes, certain things have to be kept secret. But again, you can overclassify things, which tends to happen, right? You tend to, just because you're trying to protect everything, right? So I'm just going to overclassify, and that also creates a problem then. So, trying to strike a balance, it's a human endeavor, so you never really get it right, I don't think. But
well, this is where people feel like the line, when it comes to alien spacecrafts, and if the government knows and is aware of alien spacecrafts and alien technology, this is where the line of secrecy and being sworn to oath, where it crosses over into a need to know for the general public. Mm. Bob Lazar's story, the story about him working for S4. He was a physicist for Los Alamos Labs. That's been proven. He was on the employee list there. He also was listed in a newspaper article when he put a jet engine in a Honda, that he was a physicist at Los Alamos Labs, and he was a propulsion expert. Says he worked for Area S4, and says he was hired to back engineer UFOs, and says they never could figure out how these things worked, and that they were never going to, because they really couldn't, because they were trying to keep everything secret. They couldn't share all this information with the general scientific community. And he's like, science doesn't work in these containment bubbles. You can't compartmentalize science and have only a few small propulsion experts sit around and try to figure this thing out, and then they fire and bring new guys in, and no one ever gets it.
Right, which is what goes against. I mean, if I'm trying to pull information out of another nation, right? If I'm targeting intelligence from, they're developing some new ballistic missile system or whatever it is, propulsion system, then yes, I'm gonna play off of that desire on the part of engineers and scientists to have a collaborative community, right? And the Chinese do that very well, right? And particularly when they target Chinese Americans working here in the U.S. in potentially sensitive positions. This idea that we're all working together, and this is just what we should be doing. We've done. My company has done work trying to protect information for companies, pharmaceutical companies is a good example, where the scientists, the engineers, the doctors need that free flow in their mind. They got to have this free flow and this collaborating and this sharing of information. And meanwhile, you got the other side, where the bean counters and security personnel and all that, and they're going like, no, this is the lifeblood of our company. We can't risk losing this information, so we got to lock it down to the degree we can. Those two things don't necessarily coexist all that well together, but you got to try to find some medium. So, I think, there's the fact that the government came out and talked about ATIP. I thought it was a big step, right? That's a big deal for them, right? I mean, that they would discuss that. Do I think that they're hiding? Again, I don't take anything. I wouldn't take anything off the table, right? Frankly, because I don't know, right? So it would be stupid of me to say no. They definitely aren't holding on to some propulsion system that isn't of this world or whatever. If I don't know it, I can't say absolutely not. But
Wouldn't you want to know, though?
Oh, sure. Yeah. But, I mean, what do you do? I mean,
Grease a few palms.
Is that it? Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I guess do that.
I'd let the go right now. Listen.
Yeah.
I'll say a lot of shit that's not true. Just get me to the UFOs. Show me the UFOs, and I'll lie.
Oh God! No, we're doing. It is.
It's not true.
Yeah, it's.
I'm lying. Now, don't tell me.
No.
I'm lying. Because
Yeah.
if you tell me, I'm telling everybody.
He's telling everybody. Yeah. They
it's
know.
a lie.
Look, they know.
Sure, they know that.
They know that. They're writing it down right now. Whatever happens. But
It's too bad. Episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience are now free on Spotify. That's right. They're free. From September 1st to December 1st, they're going to be available everywhere. But after December 1st, they will only be available on Spotify, but they will be free. That includes the video. The video will also be there. It'll also be free. That's all we're asking. Just go download Spotify. Much love. Bye-bye.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
There's been many instances of sightings off the coast of California of things that plunge into the water or escape from the water and take off into space.
So,
with the field propulsion system, as Commander Fravor describing, as Lazar described, it doesn't matter the medium of space, air, or water. There's no resistance, no splash. I mean, this goes back to, when Christopher Columbus reported a UFO sighting.
He did?
Oh, yeah. This idea, so this has been around. Anyway, this idea, boom, that you can go through these different mediums.
Pause for a second. Christopher Columbus had a UFO sighting?
Yeah, it's a written account, so it's like
Find that.
no video.
it's not
No
gonna be
video?
no
video.
This is
Well, I'm
bullshit,
shocked.
then. It's bullshit. Then.
Well, see, but that's what's so cool. So Commander Fravor's encounter, it's not the most documented. It's not the most dramatic. However, it has had the most impact out of any sighting because of his credibility and the mere fact that the New York Times picked it up with video footage, radar evidence, and somebody who is as credible as Commander Fravor. It has changed the dynamic of the way the government responds. New Navy protocols because of Commander Fravor coming forward. There are closed-door congressional and Senate briefings. He's been part of them. He's admitted that before. There's a new study about UFOs because of this encounter. It's so much evidence, has so much power to it compared to other ones. So Christopher Columbus, great, cool story. Somebody wrote it down. Who knows if he even wrote it down? We have highly documented cases. This one has changed our culture. And that's what's so cool. People are talking about it differently.
So this is a good story. This is true. So I was sitting at home, and usually when people try and find me, they get my wife's cell phone because it's the first one on the cell phone bill, and it's all in my name. So I see this call from California, and I'm like, and normally I don't answer them, and it's her phone. I'm like, who's calling my wife? Because that is me. So I answer it, and this lady says, hey, is Commander Fravor there? And I go, who's calling? And she goes, well, I'd like to talk to Commander Fravor. I go, who's calling? And she says, hi, I'm a 79-year-old woman, and I would just like to tell him my story. I go, you're talking to him. And she goes, I've never in my life told anyone this. She goes, I grew up, my dad was in the Navy. She goes, he was stationed in Rhode Island at first when she was a child. She said, her and her mom were walking on the beach, and they saw these weird lights. So that kind of got her into that, UFOs. She goes, a few years later, they had moved to San Francisco. So I imagine Treasure Island, because at her age, that would have been, probably in the 50s. She said her dad was working as a Navy liaison to the agency. And, he came home one day and he had a telegram in his hand. And she goes, for some reason, he let me read it. She's telling me this story. And I said, well, what did it say? She says it basically said, hey, unidentified objects going in and out of the water, and it had a latitude and longitude in it. And he looked at her. She goes, and I'm a child, and I always remember this. She says, he looked at me and said, we get these all the time, and it's always in the same area. And I go, of course. I go, well, you got the telegram? She goes, of course not. He had to take it back to work. I said, you don't happen to remember that latitude, longitude? She said, no. She goes, but you seem to be so credible and believable. She goes, I wanted to tell someone the story that I've never told anyone in my life. So that's what you're starting to see is people that, very credible. They're not crazy. They're not making stuff up, but they're coming out and going, hey, I've had these experiences. And I've got a lot of that from over the last 2 years where people just find my email and send me stuff saying, hey, this happened to me, or I saw this. And there's some things that are explainable because I got asked to tell this. So, because I have a sick sense of humor at times. So, like I said, I had all these quals. So we used to fly. They don't do it right now because it's a little bit dangerous. But we used to fly night vision goggles, low altitude in Hornets. All right. So when you put on night vision goggles, they amplify light like a lot. So you can see a campfire like 50 miles away. So we used to do it. The good spots were down in like El Centro, California. There's a range that there's some bombing ranges, but people go camping in the Superstition Mountains, which is kind of north and west of Imperial by I forget what it is, the Springs. It's real pretty in the desert. It'll come to me in a minute. So we would go out at night flying around on goggles, and you'd see a campfire, and you go, oh, UFO time. And then you get the airplane going about 600 knots, and then you pull the power back to idle so you can't hear it. And you get zinging towards the fire. Well, you turn the lights are all down because we're in restricted areas, so we can do that. And there's lights on it that you can only see if you're on night vision goggles. So the other airplanes can see us, but no one else can see us. Then you go zinging at it, and then right when you get to the campfire, you pull the airplane into the vertical, you stroke the afterburners, you let them light off, you count to 3, you pull them off, and then you just go away. Instant UFO reporting. Sitting out in the desert, it's all quiet, and then all of a sudden there's a lure, there's lights in the sky, and they go away and it's gone.
The campfire.
So you would do that just to fuck with campers?
Yes.
How rude.
Yes, I did it, but like I said, we have a sick sense of humor.
Yes, I'm
so,
sure.
So some things are explainable because I guarantee there were phone calls made on some of the stuff that we did.
And actually, you're not the only one who's ever done that.
Oh, I'm not that creative, but it's just, you think about it and you go, because people go, I saw this or I saw that because I've got stuff like that. And I go, yeah, I used to create stuff like that, just not tell it.